Justice League number 7, written by Jeff Johns, art by Gene Ha. We left off last issue with the end of the origin arc, so this is now present day. And we are in Baltimore, Maryland, and there's a whole bunch of weird gremlin-looking tooth monsters coming after all the civilians. And we have some soldiers around from Argus, including a Colonel Steve Trevor, who's shooting them down with guns, but they just keep on coming. And there's a reporter on the scene who's like, Steve Trevor. She's like, there are monsters here, dude. Get out of the way. And she's like, oh, but where are the Justice League? And, of course, on cue, the Justice League show up, and everyone's like, it's them, the real heroes. You stupid soldiers can't do anything. But these guys are here to save the day. And Steve's like, great, that's fantastic. So they all show up and start beating everybody up. We get some narration written in some weird handwritten font saying like, thanks to me, called them the world's greatest superheroes, called them modern gods, but that's all gonna change. And then we get down to, apparently they've beaten back a bunch of the monsters, but Batman's like, all right, we're here for the main thing though. Where's the primary target? And apparently it's a biological warfare specialist named Dr. Samuel Street. He was developing a spore virus to Argus, but then someone got in the way and stole something called the Orb of Ra, which then, because of him doing this stuff, he infected Street to the spore virus. And they're basically just saying that, okay, his spore virus allows him to create these things about once every 10 seconds. So as long as he's out there, these things are going to keep coming. So they managed to track him down to basically his ex-wife's house because they got divorced because he was abusive. I think that's the gist of it. And so he went back there and he's just going to raise some hell. So everyone's okay with beating him up now. And Batman's laying out the plan of like, okay, you guys handle this thing. Flash, you lead these spore creatures away. And then Green Lantern's like, whoa. We're the Justice League, Batman. We got this. And they all fly off. And Batman's like, just do your jobs. So Flash and Green Lantern make it to Street's ex-wife's house first. And Flash is like, do you have to poke the bear so much? And he's like, yeah, it's kind of funny, right? But as they approach the house, these even bigger, meaner spore creatures come out saying, stay away, stay away. And then we see Street is inside and he's just fully deformed into this monster. And as they get into it, the entire rest of the league shows up. And he's basically just easily knocked down. He's just like, I'm not going to go down easy. And he's like, yeah, you are. And they'll knock him down. So we cut to 1 hour later, and Steve Trevor's giving a press conference basically on everything that just happened. And as he just gets into, well, we should thanks the Justice League for, and then immediately a reporter springs up being like, hey, so everyone here is wondering the same question. Why do we need Argus? Why do we need the soldiers? Like, yes, you are the liaison to the Justice League, but, like, they have literally a spotless record, and they are perfect, and you know what? We should just get rid of governments, too. Like, if we just let the Justice League take control, like, they could solve all the problems with everything. Justice League are literally the best people ever and have no flaws whatsoever. I'm not even kidding. That's, like, the entirety of this conversation here. Nobody has a bad thing to say about them just taking over the world. So, as Steve Trevor steps off the stage, he's approached by one more reporter who's basically like, hey, heard you and Wonder Woman had a thing going on. Should we wear her boots to bed? And Steve, like, nearly breaks his hand. And as he lets the reporter get away, a woman steps up saying, hey, I'm your new aide. My name's Etta Candy. And she's like, hey, cool, awesome. We got to go talk to Congress, so tag along. So he goes to, like, some oversight committee in front of Congress, and they're basically like, all right, so why haven't we been allowed on the Justice League Watchtower? Like, they haven't let you up there, they haven't let anybody up there. We pumped so much money into them, we want some level of control. And Steve's like, the Justice League are here for good. They've been doing a fantastic job, and you want to control them? I'll go ahead and tell them that. I'll tell them that you want control. And it's like basically shouting down these senators saying, You guys can't deal with them. They are so far above you that whatever you try to throw at them, they might just get pissy and literally ruin your lives. And all these people want them to take over the government. You are literally like asking them to. And immediately they're like, oh, we're so sorry. We didn't mean to upset you. And he's like, cool, bye. So he steps out. He asks Etta to go get him some coffee while he hops on his computer, starts up a video call with Wonder Woman, and they start talking for a second, but then before they can really actually talk about anything, the rest of the league is like in the background all arguing with each other. And then we get Green Lantern saying, hey, Steve, could you send up more snacks? We're running low. He's like, I already gave you your monthly ration. He's like, yeah, but I kind of took some of that home, so we need some more. And then Batman shows up. And, okay, if you've been reading the Justice League International book, this next part makes no sense because he literally says that the UN needs to shut down the Justice League International because it's an embarrassment. Like, he was in that and he was actually, like, really pushing for them to continue. So I don't know where this part came from. A little bit weird. Regardless, everyone kind of just keeps on telling Steve their complaints and their random whims. And as soon as they walk off screen, he tries to talk with Diana for a second, but as he's like, hey, yeah, I'm just glad to help the Justice League. And she's like, cool, click. And so he gets pissed off, and Etta comes back in, and it's just like, so, there's clearly some tension between you and Wonder Woman. You want to tell me what's going on? He's like, I love her. He's like, well, then why don't you tell her that? And he's like, that's the problem. I did tell her that, and that's why we're in the situation we're in now. And then we see the person who was talking at the beginning, or like the narration box is saying that, oh, everything's going to change. They won't see him as gods. Turns out it's the guy who wrote the book at the end of the last issue, David Graves. And now he's like, I'm the one who was the intruder who caused Spore to infect that guy. I have the Orb of Ra. And I realize now that the Justice League are not gods. They are bad people, and they can be destroyed. And the thing that can destroy them is Colonel Steve Trevor. Dun, dun, dun. Okay. This also has a backup story that goes into the Shazam overarching thing. I'm going to talk about those on the 5th week, the next time that comes up. But as for this issue, it's a Steve Trevor story. That's the thing of it, is that it's just like the first part of it is just to show like, okay, here's how the league works together. Here's how effective they are. And then the rest of it is how does Steve Trevor deal with the fact that he needs to play nice with the league. Everyone loves the league more than him. And everybody's trying to get something out of him. And I like it because it shows a very thin line that Steve has to walk this entire time. But it's still just like, I don't know. The main story came in that last page. I don't know how much Steve's obviously going to play so much into whatever David Graves' plan is, but it just doesn't seem like a big thing. I don't know. I feel like everything here was just show you the day in the life of Steve Trevor. Not so much to further the plot, just more so to introduce you to here's how Steve lives. Which is fine for the sake of the character, but I also wonder how much is it really going to matter. In terms of just ignoring that, what do I think of this issue not looking to the future? It's fine. I think it's got some good moments to it. I think the Steve and Wonder Woman moment and how, like, you can feel when he's starting up the video call that, like, he's nervous about it. And then at the very end, he's trying to, like, make it go a certain way and it's just not working for him. I like those. I think those are very solid moments. The rest of it does show just a good relationship of how people see him compared to the Justice League, and it's good. It's good overall. So overall, I'm going to give this one I give it a 7.5. I think it's very well done. Gene Ha does a very good job on the art. I would say I might like some of these things more than I like the Jim Lee art from the last arc. I think it is. There are a couple panels that are a little bit iffy, but for the most part, it is very well done throughout. So, yeah, 7.5, and I'm looking forward to seeing where it goes from here.